Welcome to our conversation. I'm so glad to host you. Today's guest, Director of Joint Programs of Kaznu and Columbia University, Professor Rafiz Abazov. Professor, I know you have a lot of experience from Kazakhstan and in other countries. And can you compare sphere of education in Kazakhstan and in other countries?
Hello, very good question. I would say maybe three main reasons. Technically, I'm here and you could see a lot of professors from United States, from England, from France, from other countries coming to Kazakhstan. They brought a lot of know-how. We brought know-how, it's here at all universities, but the problem is universities very often do not use know-how. This is number one problem. Number two, when I taught to students, I always had whole class not very interested, but one or two students who were interested in getting knowledge. And they became very successful. Later they went to study at the University of the United States, they got good jobs at international companies. So the second problem is motivation of students. They are not very motivated to get knowledge. And number three, in our social sciences, we have theory called generational theory. So we often say the generation who are right now studying, Generation Z, those who were born after 1999, they grew up on internet, they grew up on gadgets. They have very different perception what to expect from the world. Sometimes we can call idealistic, sometimes we can call very high expectations, because workplace in Kazakhstan doesn't meet the expectations. They actually don't see themselves in the workplace, at least today. You know, studying at Columbia University costs about $100,000 per 2 years. $100,000. It's huge investments, even for United States. It's huge money. And students come because they know what they want to get. They consider it is not just study, it's investment in their future. And they say, okay, I would like to get as much a profit for myself from this investment. They're running after me, Professor, why don't you give me additional homework? Professor, can you explain me more about this particular material? Can you give me more reading materials? They would like to get as much knowledge to make sure that after education they get a job which is high paid and they can recover that particular investment. With this kind of mentality, they study hard. And you know, at Columbia University, during a for 2 months, when you have exams, library work for 24 hours. They don't close the libraries. Once I came in midnight, I wanted to do something very fast because of time difference. It was midday here. I wanted to send some materials, an article to here. Can you imagine? There was no free computer.
What do you think about our students? Are they lazy?
I have my own proverb when I say best Americans are Kazakh, best Kazakhs are Americans. And the reason behind it. One thing it's very missing here, teamwork. Say for example, in the United States, when I have a team of students, I tell them, you have to complete this project. They immediately select their team leader, team assistant, writer, the manager, and you know, like speaker, presenter. When I have Kazakh students in the United States, they start fighting who will become a manager or team leader. And then they don't do anything. They wait when if you give individual order, you do A, B, C, they do it. But you have no motivation, no skills for teamwork to do by themselves. They wait for something to be delivered. So I don't think so that students are lazy. Students are, how to say, worse than Americans. The main problem is they don't have soft skills.
In general, our government allocates a lot of money for sphere of education. What do you think? It's enough?
A lot of money, but there is always but. if a country would like to become a country with modern economy, with modern technologies, and people who are able to handle this modern technology, according to many studies, average rate is supposed to be 4% of GDP spent on education and sciences. As far as I remember, Kazakhstan spends about 2%. Half of the money is supposed to be spent on education and research. Therefore, it means, unfortunately, with a big amount of money, it's not enough to make, to prepare young people, new generation, to successfully handle new technologies. It's one thing. And second, actually, it's very important to spend money effectively. And unfortunately, we could see that it's actually needs better management of the budget what government spends on education.
Where is the Kazakh dream?
I ask my students here in Kazakhstan, and in the past I asked my students in the United States. In Kazakhstan I ask, what is Kazakh dream? Can you tell me about Kazakh dream? Unfortunately, students were unable to tell me about Kazakh dream. Sometimes they say, oh, I dream about a car, I dream about some money, I dream about apartment. But they don't have like a dream as a dream. This is like piece of metal, a piece of paper, or piece of bricks. It's not a dream.
It is American dream.
American dream is something different. It's more comprehensive. People would like to achieve something in their life, using work or their job as a tool to achieve something bigger. So I have to say, unfortunately, I never heard about Kazakh dream.
Can you tell about successful students?
I have two students. One student, he was a student, very interesting, of Filipino origin. Originally his parents came from Philippines, who lived in small town in United States, but he became innovator. And he worked on innovations, but because he was, can you imagine, he was farmer, from farming family. Basically in Kazakh, you say aul, from aul. And he learned about one grass alfalfa, and he actually developed a project proposal. And once he came asking me, Professor, can you give me early grade? So I give him grade earlier. I said, why? He said, he graded from first year. He said, because I just got $50 million, $50 million as a seed money to develop my innovation into the bigger project. So can you imagine, at the age of 21, to get $50 million to get your innovation ready. And then I had one more student. This is one success story. Very interesting person. She was from Italy, from migrant family, I think half Belarusian, half Italian, with some other bloods. So he came to the United States, and he said, I would like to be a banker in Middle East to manage oil money. And he said, I would like to have a dream. And he said, I believe that Columbia University doesn't give me enough education. Everyone was shocked. She was telling it to a dean of university. Can you imagine? And he said, why? He said, according to my research, and she researched, I have a dream to be a banker. For being a banker, I need 7 skills, 7 competences, knowledge in 7 fields. And none of your programs give me this opportunity, because I need to be to learn about legal studies, about economics, about banking. So there is no one program combining everything. And what's interesting in American education, the dean was not offended. He said, okay, if you have a dream, tell me what kind of subject you want. We'll give you special permission to have special program and tailor it for yourself. She said, okay. And she was, remember I told you, a student who was running after me asking more homework. She came, first time she said, Professor, I don't like you. I said, why? You gave me only one homework. Oh, I said, yes, I give to everyone homework. She said, no. She was banging the table. Can you imagine? Professor, give me 5. I gave her 5, and she was doing well. She didn't have like nice haircut. She didn't have cosmetics for all 2 years. So it is, she was studying very hard. After 2 years of graduation, I didn't hear about anything about her. And after 3 years, from her classmates, I heard that she is going to fly on her own jet, own airplane. Of course, it doesn't belong to her, it's the company. From Dubai to New York to meet classmates. She, not 3, in 4 years, she became a banker. She worked for a bank, not for a bank, for sovereign fund. She got a job within 4 or 5 years. Worked for sovereign fund. It's like something like Samruk in Dubai, Samruk Kazana. So she became a banker. It means a person, a director who makes a decision. She got very good salary. I usually say, I don't want to offend anyone to saying her salary. And she got from the company airplane, jet, to fly on a personal plane whenever she wants.
What about unsuccessful students?
Unfortunately, I have always have some students who would say are failures. Once, not on once, several times, I met my students who got master degree from very good university, and they work as a taxi drivers. I said, why? They said, oh, we are happy. We come, no need to think about anything, no need to do anything, just drive from A to B and you get more or less decent salary. But I told them, look, number one, it's not for always. While you're young, you can do it, but what about after that? And what can you teach your children to become better? If you teach as a father, you have to show yourself as an example. Can you tell your future son that you are a good example? They were not sure if they can say to your future, I am a good example. So unfortunately, people have also have to understand. They have to be achiever, and in Kazakhstan, it's emerging economy. A lot of opportunities, but they have to go and take the opportunities.
Can you tell a nice slogan for motivating our students?
Usually have like a paradox. Number one paradox, don't study too hard. You should study smart. Number one. Number two, be sometimes lazy. By lazy means study new technologies to make sure that your life become easier. Number three, develop your, I will say, if you're from Kazakhstan, develop your Kazakh dream. So finally, Kazakhstan needs its own dream.
Thank you so much for motivating ideas. I hope we will have a lot of millionaire students from Kazakhstan.